I'm about to tell you the biggest mistakes that creators make when trying to land sponsorship deals and how to avoid them. You're probably doing number 6 without even knowing. You've arrived at your destination. Hi, my name is Ebony. I've been a digital nomad for over 8 years by working in marketing. I'm currently a sponsorship manager and I work with thousands of creators from across the world. I've managed over $500,000 in sponsorship deals, and I've also successfully created a travel series that garnished over 3 million views, entirely funded with international sponsors. I get sponsorship requests and messages daily. I negotiate sponsorships, and I'm the person who ultimately gets to accept or reject the sponsorship deals. So I know a thing or two about sponsorships. I thought it would be super useful to share the other side of the medal, give you guys a different perspective, and for you to finally understand the business side of sponsorships so that you can better negotiate yours and successfully land sponsorships as a creator. In this 4-episode series, I will go in depth into what is a sponsorship, terms that are frequently used, why do companies typically want to make sponsorships with creators, and what is the intent behind, how to successfully land sponsorship deals, how to better negotiate your sponsorship deals, the biggest mistakes you should absolutely avoid doing, how to create long-term relationship with sponsorships managers, and I'll even share some of the best and the worst emails and cases that I've seen in my career so far. I am absolutely not going to gatekeep anything in this series, and I will also be answering any additional questions in the comments. So give this video a thumbs up if you are excited and you want to make sure that you stick until the end, because 90% of creators do these mistakes without even realizing. Let's go. I'm really excited to share with you all of the biggest mistakes that I see daily when creators try to pitch me or pitch brands to successfully land a sponsorship, and then they're really surprised when they hear nothing back. And I can really understand how frustrating that might be. So I want to make sure that you get that information from a sponsorship manager and that you do not make those mistakes as well. I really want to bring as much value, experience, and insight as I can to you. So little side note, I've officially been on my 6 months of YouTube journey, and my channel is slowly growing. I'm really excited. This is really fun. And I've decided that I want to be a value creator. And one thing that I've noticed is that a lot of travelers and digital nomads are also content creators. So by sharing all the experience that I have as a sponsorship manager, I think that that brings a lot of value to you guys. So the best way to help me keep going and to show me that I'm doing a good job and I'm bringing value to you guys is by liking this video, giving it a thumbs up, leaving a comment so that more people get to see it and get this information, and subscribing. That's really the fuel that keeps me going. So I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, so let's talk about these mistakes. I'm gonna list 10 of the biggest mistakes that I see daily that creators do when pitching brands to try to get sponsorships. And I want you to comment the mistakes that you are currently doing, okay? No shame here, please. I am guilty of doing some of these mistakes myself. Yes, I'm a sponsorship manager, but I'm also a creator, and I have done some of these mistakes myself. We are all here to learn and grow. So drop in the comments the mistakes that you have been doing. And if you want to know what to do, you want to make sure that you check out my video, how to successfully land a sponsorship by a sponsorship manager, me video, and that's going to give you all of the tips and best practices to actually land a sponsorship. But We also want to know what not to do. So let's get started. So mistake number one, pitching without a concept. God, I see this one all the time, and I really like to give real life examples to show my points here. So imagine you're going to a job interview and the interviewer is like, so why should I hire you? And you're just like, I'm cool, I have a lot of followers. Like, you would never get the job, okay? Coming to a sponsorship meeting or sending an email without any sort of like knowledge of the company or concept idea is almost like showing to your job interview without knowing what you've written on your resume, or being like, I just hope you hire me because like I'm cool. I mean, it's not going to work. You are the creator. It is your job to create. If a sponsorship manager is speaking to you about a paid sponsorship opportunity, it is even more your job to create, because now you're getting paid to do that. It is not the sponsorships manager job to come to the meeting or to have to write the email being like, here are the concept ideas that I came with. And honestly, I've done that. And I'm now like no longer doing that. That is not part of my job. Yes, I can come up with like some very basic ideas of like what I've seen other creators do that have been successful. But the truth is, they're not you, you're not them. What works for them and their audience might not work for you and your audience. You should be prepared. You should know exactly what type of video perform well for you and why. What is the hook that you're gonna use to make sure that this video content works and performs? Like, how are you going to help reach the KPIs and the metrics that are supposed to come out from this campaign and this company hiring you to do this content? Like, why should they hire you? What's unique about what you're bringing to the table? So really, you want to be prepared. And yes, there are some companies that prefer to give you a script and they're like, here's what we want you to do. But honestly, nowadays, that's very rarely the case. When a company wants to work with an influencer or with a creator, it's because they want their unique sauce. They want their uniqueness, their flavor, their creativity, their originality, the credibility that you have built with your audience. So I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I'm not going to give you a script. I'm going to give you our company's guidelines, what you should say and what you should definitely not say. But then everything else has to come from you. And it's really not fun to work with creators who have not prepared their content for the meeting. So you could even include that in your first initial pitch. I don't like if a creator goes like really in depth in like the first email, especially if it's a cold email type of thing. But instead of being like, hey, I'd love to work with XYZ brand, it does sound a lot better when you come up with, hey, I have this upcoming travel video about traveling to India. I've tested your backpack there. And like you have their backpacks and things like that, you know? And I would love to showcase how amazing it was for XYZ reason and da 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 da, right? Like 3 or 4 sentences maximum, like the general concept. But that shows that like you're prepared, you've thought about it, like you know what you're gonna be talking about. And then the company can kind of gauge if that's the kind of content that they need, that they want, if it's relevant, it's gonna reach the right audience, things like that. It just makes a lot more sense. So make sure that you come with the concept ideas, the hook, the integration, and why you've chose all of that. So always pitch solid ideas, not just yourself. Mistake number 2 is one of the most common ones, and it's being too rigid about your budget. Listen, I get it. I'm a small creator myself too. I've worked thousands of dollars of sponsorships for my own personal projects, movies, and things like that. I completely understand you want to get paid your worth, and you should. But you coming into the conversation and saying, I want to get $2,000, take it or leave it. A, isn't attractive. B, doesn't really open up a conversation or leaves room for negotiation. And three, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities because you're not the only creator pitching. Competition is really high, and the budget that you're not willing to work for, someone else will. So you really have to pick and choose your battles here. I completely, again, understand you want to be paid your word, but there has to be a little bit of wiggle room on your end. Not every single company is going to have thousands of dollars to work with creators. Most companies will prefer to have performance-based, like affiliate pay or performance based sponsorship pay, because as a company, there needs to be a return on investment. When you're a brand new ambassador, your audience is not vetted. They know nothing about you. So it's really difficult to justify paying thousands of dollars just to see if your audience is a fit in reality. We'll get to the audience thing later. This is one of the biggest mistakes that comes up. But right now, I just want to say you really shouldn't be too rigid about the budget. There's maybe other perks that you can work out with the company, and maybe you can negotiate. For example, you can ask for a cross promotional post. So if the company that you're reaching out to has also a huge following, well, if they reshare your content exposing you to, I don't know, like 500,000 new people, that's a win-win. Like, you're getting also exposure and brand awareness of your personal brand to a new audience. So you're possibly going to get new followers, and that is worth a lot of money for your future sponsorships and for your career as a content creator. They might be able to offer you discounts on the products, or even free products. And if you've reached out to the right brand, you should actually genuinely be using their products and love their products. So that's another really cool way of getting paid. Like, yes, it doesn't pay the bills. Yes, you don't want to be doing that all the time, but it's kind of a way to, get some wiggle room in there. My best negotiation tactics that I go fully in depth into in the How to Land a Sponsorship video is negotiate based on key metric goals and performance. So I highly recommend you go check out that video if you want to learn better tools and how to really negotiate your way into a win-win partnership, and make sure that brands want to work with you again and again and again. So make sure you go check that out. Mistake number 3 is delivering content late or low quality content. Listen, at the end of the day, a lot of creators think that they're working with brands, but you're working with people. Like, behind every brand is a person, like a person managing that department. In the sponsorship or partnership or collaboration or any name that a company wants to use for that department, there's a person. Me is a perfect example. And I want my job to be agreeable and fun. And there is nothing worse than an ambassador or a creator delivering really poor quality content when I was really excited to team up with them, and then the content comes and it's just a major let down, or delivering content that is late. When it comes to low quality, the things that I notice the most is like a shaky camera, really bad lighting, sound being horrible, or a creator that simply does not respect the company's guidelines, missions, vision. For example, if you're working with a car company and you're showcasing that you're drinking and then maybe driving, or it's kind of like blurry, I mean, that brand is never gonna work with you again. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So make sure that the content that you deliver is high quality, respects the brand's guidelines and that you're proud to deliver that content. Especially to build that long-lasting relationship, I'm not gonna wanna work with a creator that's always late, that I'm always having to chase because they're not responding to my emails and things like that. That's just not a relationship that's gonna be enjoyable. And honestly, if I get to choose which creator I wanna work with for my next campaign, like result to results equal, I'm always gonna choose the creator with who I have a good relationship, that delivers high quality content and that delivers the content on time. So we receive a ton of messages every day. I personally have to review a lot of content every day. There's just so much on my list and I have so much to do and to manage. The last thing that I want to do is have to manage someone's content that's late. Be punctual, it pays off. So mistake number 4 goes hand in hand with what I just said, and that is ignoring a brand's guideline. Oh my God, I see this one so often. So I work in one of the most regulated industries in the world, and I receive so many videos that are non-compliant. It's crazy. I will have people send me videos of them on a motorcycle with no helmet, or of them swearing or heavy partying or doing things could be illegal. Like, I just don't understand. If a company is like super family friendly and all that stuff, you wouldn't be dropping the F-bomb in your videos. If you're not sure what the company's guidelines are, ask for them. Be curious, ask questions, ask like, what can I say and what should I definitely not say? What can I do and what can I definitely not do? Ask if they do have a specific call to action, a CTA, like what should that be? Is it sign up now, check it out now, check my link in bio, use my code to purchase? Like, make sure that you know what the company's guidelines are and be curious about what are the goals of this campaign, of this content, what are the key metrics. Ask for that so that you can kind of try to push your message in that direction in the content that you're delivering. That is gonna make a sponsorship manager really happy that they work with you, versus having to tell you like, hey, sorry, your video or your like piece of content is not compliant, like you have to do it again. That's not fun for the sponsorship manager. That's not fun for you. Definitely not going to help build a solid relationship. And again, that's really not encouraging to want to work with you again. So make sure that you're careful about these things. If there's certain colors and things like that, like, it's the details, honestly, but at the end of the day, it really truly matters. Mistake number 5 is pitching companies that are completely not relevant to your niche. I think that one is a given, but you'd be surprised how many times, I'm going to speak for myself, I receive pitches from people that it makes no sense. If you're a gaming channel, you're for sure not going to pitch a cosmetic brand, right? Like, make that make sense. But I see that often. It screams desperation. It screams, I want money. It screams like, I don't care and I don't value your brand or this partnership. I just want money. I don't know what else to say about that. Sometimes they can be crossovers, right? For example, I am a travel focused like channel, but I feel like I could still pitch like, I don't know, a credit card company if they had like a credit card that's more geared for travelers. Like, yes, I'm not like a financial advisor and I'm not like deep into the finances and this and that, but it still works. It just makes creators look like they are a sellout and they're not serious, and it completely breaks the trust and credibility with their audience. So just don't do it. Stick to your niche. You're gonna be a lot more successful long term, and also the right brands are gonna come to you. Like, the more you associate with the right brands and pitch the right brands, the more the right brands are also gonna work with you back, and then it creates like this really big loop of great opportunities. So Don't sell your soul for just like a one sponsor, like random sponsorship. It's not worth it. I've just dropped part 2 of the biggest mistakes to avoid when trying to land a sponsorship or brand deals. So you want to make sure you check that out. In my opinion, number 6 is the worst one. So go have a look.